Joan, when you're ready.
Thank you.
There are 100,000 people in the UK suffering same as Joan, but Joan has been told by 2 consultants that she's the worst case that they have ever seen.
The condition is called syringomyelia. I also have arachnoiditis and my spinal cord is bulging, and this is what limits my movement. And they've put tubes or shunts into the bottom of my brain just to keep the spinal fluid moving.
We now have a person who, since 1997, has progressively become an incomplete tetraplegic. And unfortunately, the illness she has is incurable and is progressive.
If there weren't people like my carers, how would I cope? And sometimes I think, gosh, this is quite a doddle. Somebody's bathing me, they're wrapping me in warm towels, but my fatigue levels are zilch, really. I get tired very easily. And it's boring. It is boring.
From 2000, it became more intense and has become much more intense since then. You are so tired by the end of the evening because it's every day, day after day after day, and you cannot arrange your own life to do something that you want to do because suddenly there will be a demand upon you which is totally unexpected.
Next week is quite busy. The only free day I do have is a Thursday.
It is brought home to me that I'm not living my own life when, for example, if I have a free day and the carer comes, say, let's say 10 o'clock, I'm in the car, I'm away, and it's euphoria, it's great. I'm off, I'm free. However, when I arrive, I look at my watch and realise it's taken me, let's say, an hour and a half to get there. So I'm left with 3.5 hours, but I got an hour and a half back. So my walk is 2 hours. And the euphoria drains away because you know you're against the clock. You have this feeling of freedom for such a short time. The same thing happens if you have the so-called 14-day break. First of all, the first day you are taking the person you care for in to wherever it's going. And you need a day to rest. You then go away, but you've had to book a holiday at the last moment. The reason being, no one will insure a carer. So at the last minute, you're booking something and you're going off with your fingers crossed. And for that reason, I stay in the UK. So at the 14 days, you're lucky to get 8. 13th day, you're getting everything organised at home, making sure you got the shopping, make sure you got the drugs, make sure you got this, that or the other. So a 14-day respite, oh, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for 5 hours. I'm grateful for 2 hours. But then you've got to think of the impact on Joan. What would happen if she had to stay in, away from home for that time? How would it affect her? So I have to weigh up my own consideration against the emotional and psychological consideration for Joan. She doesn't really want to go into respite, but will do it if it means a break for us. But if it was a longer span, what would happen? What about you?
What about me?
Well,
I reckon I can do this without getting dirty.
okay. It is very difficult to be selfish. Sometimes I wish I could be selfish and just say, oh, forget it, I'm off. Yeah, but I find it difficult. Maybe I'll be driven to it by stress and fatigue, but I hope not. I can't do it at the moment. Who knows?
It is very important to me to have all my things about me, my treasures, and I hope I can go on living here. I would have to be dragged screaming into a nursing home. Tony always saw me as a very independent person, and there is tremendous weight on him, and I see him getting more tired. Some blokes wouldn't have a clue, and some would have walked out, just walked away from it.
There you are. If you wish to carry on, be my guest.
Okay.
I'll carry on. Surgery is 2012.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. This is a friendly thing to do. Nothing to do with the physical side of anything. He's doing a very kind thing and being very kind. He's not getting the care that I'm getting.
I carry a mobile phone at all times. If on the 1 hour a week I go up to the pub, I carry a mobile phone. If I go to the top of the garden, I carry a house phone. I am never off duty. The stresses and strains are worse than in a normal marriage situation because the person who is ill is totally frustrated by being unable to do things that they could do previously and hates the loss of independence. And it drives home the realization of the immobility. And as a result of this, yes, we will shout at each other. And the best thing I can do is leave the room, calm down. Fortunately, this is forgotten quickly, and I mean quickly. In fact, more quickly than when we were younger, when we would hold a grudge for some time. It seems to pass more. I suppose it's because we realise the situation we're in. This is the kind of thing that makes everything else difficult, isn't it? With all the meetings at hospital appointments we have to have. It means that you can't do things, so they back up. The other problem, of course, is your own health, physically, because it's deteriorating. I mean, in my case, had a hernia operation, came out of the hernia operation at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, was told to go home at 5 o'clock, came home here, and immediately I had to care for my wife. The fact that I had a new scar and stitches had nothing to do with it. I had to get on with the job. There wasn't anybody else. It's difficult. As a person, you cannot say that I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of my life. Am I really honestly prepared to? I don't know. I want to at the moment, but I don't know. I don't know if my health will allow it, frankly. I do not want Joan to go into a home. I do want to continue for as long as possible. I don't just see it as a duty, it's something I want to do.
He lost his father at 15, and there was very little money about. And he's had to do things for himself. And what's come to the surface is how gentle and understanding he is. Thank you. He's got a tremendous sense of fair play.
The first time I had an experience of caring in any sense was as a child myself. And as my father got progressively more ill, his friends stayed away from him. This is what you notice now as the user gets more and more ill. Those friends who used to call frequently call less frequently. That's a sad thing. And frankly, it's one way you will find out just who your friends are. Believe me.
Things I miss most are the real homey things. Pegging washing on the line, putting my milk bottles out, gently clinking the two of them together on the front step, and going to bed when I choose rather than when I have to.
And when I read, I become part of the book, and so I'm in a different world. So that's how I relax. So all I'm saying is, if you're a carer, you've got to find something that suits you, that can enable you to switch off. You may make bread Not using a bread maker because that's cheating, but just making ordinary bread, because when you're kneading it, pulling it into position, when you're stirring it round, it's the only thing you can do is actually watch that, or it's spoiled. Only thing you can do is concentrate on what you're doing at that time. Make sure that you've got a part of the day which is yours. Make sure that the person you're caring for knows. And it doesn't have to be the same time every day. And that's the other thing. Do your own thing at different times during the day. Make sure that your own life, what little there is of it left, those little spans in between are not routine, because you've got enough routine with the person you're caring for. There's a fixed routine there that you cannot avoid. But there's those little bits in between where you can say, maybe I'll go and dig a patch in the garden. Maybe I'll go and plant some lettuce. Maybe. Just make sure that you're doing something different times, that you're not becoming a robot. Essential. And I hope that every carer can have that kind of relationship where somebody will say to them, yes, you need a break now, or you can, in all honesty, say, look, I have done all that I can. I can do no more. At the moment, I've reached saturation. I'm tired. I've got to stop. And they will let you stop.
Can you have a coffee then?
Yes, I'll put it on. Fortunately, Joan's quite a character, and she can laugh at a lot of things that are hard. Yes, she gets distressed, but she's got a strong character as well. She also has a very strong sense of humour.
I hope I'm still an interesting person to be with, because I would hate to pull the pants off anyone.
When I look at carers in that world outside, I think I'm lucky. I think Joan's unlucky, but I think I'm lucky.